website, which we thought was fair because we didn't have any web traffic at that point. And so I psyched myself up, and the first meeting I went into was walking up Gibbon Terrace. I went for Alberto's, which again is no longer there. And he was my first customer. My first meeting, my first customer. It was like fantastic, $100. What can you do with $100? Exactly. But whether he gave me the sympathy vote and just gave me the $100 to get out of there, stop wasting his time, that was the first sale, and that's what got us started. It was when I made $1,000 in one day just by walking into 10 venues and speaking with the owner, and they were able to make the decision on the spot. That's when I started, the wheels started turning that this could actually be a proper business. Also at that time, a lot of the venues we met didn't have a website, and so we saw the opportunity to start being that one-stop hospitality solution system. So we started building websites for people, their domain names, hosting, the whole works. So we started doing that to brought in more income. The other thing we did with these websites made it so when they could log in and update their details, which was like revolutionary at the time. When they added their events, it updated our Brisbane 24/7 site at the same time, which meant we always had better content than any of the competitors that were going on. Marketing-wise, we did social photos. All the sites do it now, but not back then. Going to restaurants and nightclubs, taking photos of people. Here's the card. Go and get your photo on the website. Now this is back in 2000 when people didn't have digital cameras as much. We sponsored websites like the Brisbane Arts Theatre to get our name and brand out there. The thing is, at that time we still had full-time jobs, and meetings and lunch hours were just not productive. And it's funny when you look back at it now. That's what happened. And then I was due to go back to the UK to finish my degree. But I thought, no, this is an opportunity here. Energex offering me a contract to stay on. So I transferred my degree to QUT, which I did at night. But come 2003, the real question is, and probably all done, going through this, is it a hobby or is this a business? Is this a time we've actually got to make a go of this? And so one of the other founders, he was off to Sydney to do his career, and so it was my brother and I, and we decided, yeah, let's do this. So we put in about $60,000 of our own money, housing deposits, savings, inheritance, from the whole Friends family's falls round of funding. One of the things we did at that point, based on advice, was setting up our company properly, and that was putting it into a PTY limited. If you haven't, do that. It cost us about $5,000 at the time. But what that meant was that the whole company is protected with IP and holding companies and your trust funds and things. And what that meant was when we raised money in the future, in the years to come, it was very easy to create shares and sell shareholdings and to do that. And so it's really worth setting up your business properly, for the future. Yes, we put the money in, and it's like, okay, it's. I then left Energex and started doing this full time. And it was about the same time when all these competitors started doing the same thing. Companies like water.com, like what do you want to do? Thingstodo.com.au. I've never heard of these. I remember thingstodo.com.au had people handing out post-it notes throughout on Friday nights in the city and things, and they had $4 million of investment each, and they're gone, and they spent it. And we had 60 grand. There were other sites at the time, like Tribe. If you remember the Tribe, they had like these VW vans, they were uber cool, driving around Brisbane and Sydney, Melbourne. They registered 160 domains, I remember, like Moscow Tribe, sites they never ever used, until they went bust as well. There was Scape, which was a Channel 10 Village Roadshow partnership, $10 million. Go on. And Search, which is still floating around today. But at that time, when it was like, okay, well, they've got 4 million, they're obviously a lot better than us, maybe we should just give up. Looking at their sites, my gut feeling was really sort of saying, no, we're actually better technically, and to raise $4 million in that market, you've got to earn $4 million. And I just couldn't really, it just didn't seem sustainable that they were going to make $4 million back from all these restaurants and bars who didn't have much money at the time anyway. And people really didn't know what the internet was back then. And that was a lot of the teachings, meetings with dial-up internet connections and stuff. You can imagine how the pain. But we realised, soon we had to go national. So, being a Brisbane company, the next step to prove your worth is Gold Coast. And so, what they actually started doing was building the manual of the business of, well, okay, this is our, it's like the McDonald's manual. This is how you do Brisbane. This is how you do the Gold Coast. And it also meant we had lower costs because you don't have to set up an office in the Gold Coast. We had a guy from Brisbane, commuting every couple of days. And it worked, and so venues had the same problems that they did in Brisbane, so they bought our subscriptions and we did their websites. And it was like, okay, so it's working at the Gold Coast, where to next? And we decided to go to Melbourne. This is about 2005. And I remember the first time I flew into Melbourne and hired a car and I was driving over the bridge going, what am I doing? This is a website with Melbourne 24/7 with no traffic, we're doing it all again, no customers. And however, the first venue I actually met had an online budget, and for me this was like going through a time machine. It was actually revolutionary, and I didn't have to explain what this internet thing was. I know you can't see it, but there's lots of people using the site. Because Google at that point had started indexing all the pages, and that's where another source of the traffic was coming from. So we thought, let's set up Australia straight up at that time as well. So we set up 20 domains around Australia, so Perth 24/7, Darwin 24/7, Canberra, Sydney, Sunshine Coast, etc. And so traffic started to grow, and at that point people would always ask me, you're going to go global and take this globally, and the amount of money in my head I thought we'd need to do that, I just thought there's just no way we'd ever go globally. And but we persisted, and Melbourne started working. Venues, same problems, building the websites and getting the content on the site. Then in December 2005, I just set up in Sydney. And one of the other products we built at that time was online tickets for venues, like a mini mosh pit type setup. And I got a phone. I was in Sydney, and I got a phone call from my brother saying one of the venues who had been selling tickets for New Year's Eve were wanting some of the money before. The process was after the event we'd give them the money because of chargebacks and this type of thing. And he goes, he wants some of the money to pay suppliers. We didn't realise we had over $50,000 owing to our ticketing supplying venues. We sold all these tickets. The problem was we didn't have $50,000 in the bank account. It's a horrible feeling. This was down to a whole heap of things. The bookkeeper we had at the time hadn't really given us that advice of that was yes, we had money in the bank, but it wasn't ours. We had a massive list of debtors. It was the most amazing feeling of wanting to be physically sick in one hit, and if it's not just the responsibility. You've got staff, and they need to be paid so they can pay their bills, and I've still got to pay the supplier of the tickets. And it's like you just go into overdrive, and it's an amazing feeling, and not a good one. And please avoid it if you can. But there are stories from John Simons from Aussie Home Loans. He had the same problem. He was, he had staff needing paying, and in his last meeting of the day, he needed that sale so he could get the cheque to pay those staff, and he did. And the Hitwise guys, I've heard their story, and it is out there. But if you can avoid it, please do. It's a really horrible feeling. But you have a choice, don't you, at that stage? You can give up and go, okay, there's the dream, just come down. It was worth a try. Or we better go raise some money. Okay, we've done the friends, family, fools route. Next way you get money, you can try the banks. Give up. Don't waste your time. And then there's these things called angel investors, and it's like, where do you find an angel from? Looking above. But then it occurred to me, well, all our customers, we actually might have some rich customers, and so I put the list of all the the wealthy owners, and I sent off all these proposals about, look, we're looking for investment in our business. And one of the families who's invested today is the Bickle family. They own a family nightclub, Cloudland Press Club, and we met with them, and we wrote our first business plan for that meeting. And actually we had serious objectives, and we had a lot of experience about what was working, what wasn't working at that point. And then it was like, okay, well, with this money we're going to raise, we're going to get the national sales team going. At that point, online advertising had just started, creeping up, so we could actually run a banner and get some revenue off that. Mobile opportunities were, always in the back of my mind. And one of the things they asked us in that meeting, I remember, was, can we build a site like MySpace? And it was like, no one is ever going to build a site like MySpace. They're too far, they're too far gone. Hindsight's a beautiful thing. But it shows what Facebook had done, and that was the feeling, no one could ever get near MySpace. And what Facebook had done, and Twitter, if you've got a product right, you can get that growth, a lot faster than ever before. And everything we do today, we build to scale as well. And so we went for $250,000. There was some science behind that. That's how much we just thought we needed, and they had. And we sold 25% of the business for that, giving us a valuation of $1 million. And then again, it was amazing. This is 2005, so I've just done this for 5 years. But the new fresh bounce in my step, it just changed me. Okay, we've got a chance here to make a real go at this. And plus, I've got investors who I still feel wholly responsible to. This is money they could have spent on their children's college funds, if you watch Dragon's Den, or that's they're real money, and now they're my customers as well. So okay, we've got the formula working. Let's do it. So we got a guy in Perth. We have 3 people in Melbourne, 2 people in Sydney, Tasmania, a few in Brisbane, and 2 on the Gold Coast. And me being the national sales manager at that point, my life was just on the phone, getting these salespeople. And on paper, it should have worked. It really should have. But it didn't, and I'll share with you why. If you haven't realised this yet, but salespeople, they can't be copy and pasted, unfortunately. We had some outstanding people in Brisbane who were making fantastic sales, and they just didn't. The other people just didn't replicate the results that we were expecting. And so we ended up having a massive wage bill. I'm paying rents in offices around Australia, phone plans, and it really does add up. And our cash burn rate at that time, like 30, 40 grand a month, and that's just not sustainable. And so, even though that wasn't, we then had to go, okay, we've got to change the plan. Some good things did come out of doing this aggressive national approach. We set up the domain name my247.com.au at the time, and what that actually did was all the traffic from all our Brisbane 24/7, Sydney 24/7, all got aggregated into one domain. And suddenly we got the Hitwise Top 10 sticker for our website. And on the Nielsen Net Ratings website, where advertisers look to see where they should be advertising, suddenly we were up there. And almost overnight, we suddenly started getting offers of other revenue streams. And one of the, I look back at the hindsights, even though our Brisbane site has always had the highest traffic, the Sydney site was making a lot more money online for us with online ads. Just because the market was more mature there, Sydney businesses were advertising online, and it's only now we're seeing, the Queensland government giving us, doing campaigns, on the site, and other local Brisbane companies. One of the other things, being a national company, meant you could start going for things like, we started trying to work with all the mobile companies. So like Virgin Mobile, I pitched for to do their entertainment deck, so all their restaurants, bars, what's on. We had this great concept about we should allow Virgin Mobile customers to check in to these venues. And when a Virgin Mobile customer could check in, it would then send a text message to all their friends saying, I'm here within a reasonable area if they'd requested it. Unfortunately, Virgin Mobile didn't think that was a good idea, and so we never did our check-in system back then. Hindsight. But what this also meant was starting to get on the radar, and in Sydney, where Brisbane had very limited networking, Sydney there's networking every night. And I got involved with AMIA down there. I'm on the AMIA Queensland committee, because I just started meeting all the people from 9MSN, from Fairfax, from News, from Yahoo, from Google. All the big people were going to these networking events, and it was really worth doing. But yes, in hindsight, not everyone you think is an expert is an expert. So that was my tip on that. So really, when we realised the system wasn't working, for you, just if you find it's not working, don't leave it too late. Don't run out of money, and that's what we importantly did.